All right. Welcome everyone to Movement Yoga. My name is Mark Cormier. I'll be practicing with Kathy Cormier this morning, and she'll join us momentarily, but we can get things started. All right. A little cloudy, foggy day here in San Francisco, but it's always bright in our yoga room. Hands on our hips, finding our feet as we march it from side to side. Letting that march get smaller as we stay grounded through 2 feet and just rocking it from side to side. Finding your center vis-a-vis side to side. And now we'll start to rock it front to back as we lift the toes and lift the heels. Back and forth. And then staying grounded through the toes, grounded through the heels as we rock it front to back. And then finding your center vis-a-vis front to back. At this point, making a choice, either keeping your feet just as they are or narrowing your stance as we start to connect with our center. Relax shoulders tall through the crown. I'll invite you to bring your hands to your heart. A light press of your thumb against your sternum as we line up each finger. Long through all sides of the neck with a slight tuck of the chin. morning, Kathy. Ready?
Yeah.
All right, come on in. And I'll cue it from here. So, finding your stance, hands at your heart.
Good morning,
Starting.
everyone.
Good morning, Kathy. How are you doing this morning?
I am well, thank you.
Anything you'd like to work on?
Same place as always, keeping my shoulders nice and open for when I'm
Let me
keyboarding.
just demo you a quick one.
So when I'm
So,
sitting
uh,
on my when I'm sitting at
so-
my desk and having a keyboard, but also keep my eyes open and look and talk
Right.
to the people.
But you do want to find a midpoint. So there's also kind of, this is too much.
Yeah, no,
So
totally.
somewhere between here. And
Right, you
here.
know what? Here's what I feel like I'm doing all the time.
Yeah. So, so you can certainly counteract that, but you don't want to be in a perpetual.
Right, you don't want to be this either.
Right.
Hi, I'm a robot.
So finding a place between the two. Let's
Okay, here we go. I
Get
think this
going
is
with our
about it.
breath. All right.
Thanks,
Hands,
everybody.
hands at the heart, watching as our breath flows in.
This is my therapy, you know.
There you go. From a place of just watching your breath, starting to lengthen and deepen your breath as you find a long, slow breath in, followed by an equally long, slow breath out. As you breathe in, bringing the air to the top of your chest, the base of your belly, filling up each side waist, filling up both front and back planes of your body. As you breathe out, I'll invite you to engage your abdominals as you draw the low belly in and up, concurrently lifting the kidneys in and up, squeezing a little more air out, more importantly providing structural support for our low back as we move through these shapes and sequences. Now finding the Ujjayi breath, the victorious breath, the go-to breath in many flow practices, slightly constricting the base of your throat, adding a slight sound and feel to your breath. And as we flow through our practice this morning, letting the sound and feel of your breath be a focus for your practice, often compared to the sound of the ocean as the waves wash in and out. Now taking the tip of the tongue to the hard palate just behind the teeth, finding your tongue loop, keeping that tongue to hard palate connection throughout the practice, keeping our jaws relaxed and connecting front and back planes of our bodies. And finally, with your lips closed, adding a slight smile to your face, a Mona Lisa smile, opening at the front of your throat so your breath has lots of room to circulate, refresh, and revitalize. Keeping all this, opening the eyes, hands by our side. All right. Arms and shoulders, keeping it simple. Inhaling arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling arms back down. 2 more times like this. Inhaling arms up. Exhaling arms down. Inhaling arms up. Exhaling arms down. Adding a forward fold. Inhaling arms up. On the exhale, leading with your heart as you fold. Yeah, feel free to go sideways. Take a breath to arc the back. Yeah, so we're not at down dog yet. Exhaling, folding again. We're going to do a half sun sal here. We're going to come right back up, knees soft, arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling, standing tall. 2 more times like this. Inhaling, arms up. Exhaling, finding your forward fold. Take a breath to arc the back. Hands can cap the knees. Exhaling, hands can catch the back of the shins as we traction ourselves deeper. Inhaling, arms out to the side, leading with the back of the heart. Arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling, standing tall. 1 more time like this. Inhaling, arms up. Exhaling over. Take a breath to find length. Exhaling, folding again. Inhaling, riding the breath up. Exhaling, standing tall. Sun Sal A. You're hot. Okay, we'll turn the fan on. We'll turn the heat off.
Yeah, I think so.
Inhaling, arms out to the side and then overhead. On the exhale, finding your forward
Otherwise, it's
fold.
going to be hot here, though.
Take a breath to arc. On the exhale, arching and then grounding on down. I will not cue vinyasa. I'll invite you just to stretch it back to down dog. And as you hold your down dog, walking your dog as you bend one leg deeply and then the other, grounding down to the opposite heel. Just seeing how your bodies feel or how your body feels. And you stay right there. I'll turn the heat down.
Thank you.
From a place of movement, moving back towards relative stillness, long arms, long legs, long spine, deep full breath. And then on the tail end of our breath, bending your knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone a little higher, more space in that low back, feel that low back curve. And then looking between the hands as you mindfully make your way front. Take a breath to find length when you arrive, arcing the back. Exhaling, arching the spine as we fold. Inhaling, moving towards a neutral spine, arms out to the side and then overhead. On the exhale, standing tall. The second one I will cue vinyasa. Inhaling, arms out to the side and then overhead. On the exhale, finding your forward fold. Take a breath to arc the back. On the exhale, arching the spine. As you ground down, you're going to find that push-up right off the bat. Elbows stay soft. Either coming all the way down and finding your cobra as you lift the heart, or lifting hips up for your up dog, and then stretching it back to your down dog, and holding for 3 to 5 long, slow breaths. As we hold down dog, I'll invite you to bring your attention to the base of your throat. From that place, listening and feeling as your Ujjayi breath flows in and out. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Equally long, smooth breath out. Tail end of that breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone just a little bit higher. And then looking between the hands as you either step or take a jump front. Take a breath to find length. Exhaling, folding again. Inhaling, riding the breath up. Exhaling, standing tall. Let's do one Sun Sal B. Flow style. Inhaling into a chair, knees over toes, hands overhead. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up. On the exhale, a big swan dive over. Inhaling, finding length as you arc the back. Exhaling, arching the spine as you fold again. And then grounding on down and making your way back to down dog as you will. Either cycling through vinyasa or just stretching straight back, your choice. You're going to take your time, find your flow. From down dog, flow style. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Right leg high to the sky for the 3-legged dog. Looking between the hands, bringing that right foot through, spinning the back heel down, arms out to the side and then overhead as you find your warrior one. And then riding your exhale back to low lunge, and from low lunge back to down dog as you will. Welcome, David. Welcome, Rose. I was going to say Ross. Welcome, Rose. Awesome. From down dog, big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky, high in the right toes. Looking between the hands, bringing that left foot through, spinning the back heel down, arms out to the side, and then overhead as you find your warrior one. And then riding your breath back down to low lunge, and from low lunge, back to down dog as you will, yeah. You can take your time, find your flow, follow your breath. Awesome. Starting to connect with our feeling body. How does your body feel? From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Equally long, smooth breath out. Tail end of that breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone just a little bit higher. And then looking between the hands as you either step or take a jump from. Nice jump. Take a breath to find length. Exhaling, folding. On the inhale, stay low, coming back to our chair. Exhaling, taking it lower, more strength in your legs. And then inhaling, rising on up, glutes engaged, supporting that back bend at the top. On the exhale, standing tall as we let those glutes relax. And bring hands to heart. I'll ask you to face the camera. Relax shoulders tall through the crown of the head with a soft tuck of the chin. Coming back to that internal focus, watching as our breath flows in and out. And then lifting the chin tall through the crown. Sun Sal C, but before we get there, let's do a breath exercise. Feet hip width apart, either stepping or jumping to get there. Working with our fire breath as we inhale, arms up in front. On the exhale, casting the hands back. We'll do 8. Couple more. And then back up and either stepping or jumping it in. Now last good goes sideways, sun, sal, si. Starting with our chair pose, knees over toes, hands overhead. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up. On the exhale, a big swan dive over. Take a breath to find length as you arc the back. Exhaling, arching the spine as you fold again, and grounding down through those hands and making your way back to down dog as you will, either cycling through vinyasa or just stretching straight. Vinyasa just means connected movement through space, and there's lots of ways to move through space with grace. The idea is to keep your blood flowing. Flow style from down dog, big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Right leg high to the sky, high on the left toes. Keeping that right shoulder grounded, lifted leg straight as we twist from the ribs, stacking the hips. Now bending that lifted leg, opening up that hip with the weight of the back leg. Try to keep that shoulder just as it is. There you go. Now pitching that knee even higher as we stretch out that glute, and then looking between the hands as we bring that right foot through, spinning the back heel down, arms out to the side, and then overhead for our warrior one. From warrior one, I'll invite you to bring hands back to the hips, and just checking to see if you can go any longer in the stance. If not, you stay right there. Otherwise, shifting weight onto the front foot as you scoot the back foot back. From here, stretching hands high to the sky, pulling silk thread, so we're in this shape here. Inhaling as we straighten the front leg without locking the knee. On the exhale, cactus arms. Let's do that a few times. Breathing in and breathing out. We'll do 6. Here's 3. Inhale and exhale. Last 2. Breathing in, breathing out. Last 1. Breathing in, breathing out, and holding cactus arms. The elbows move back, the hands come with, rippling those fingers, keeping your hands supple. I'll invite you to lift the chin just a tad, a little more space in that throat chakra. From here, moving towards our warrior 3. Hands find the hips again as we spin the back heel up for a big step in. If you need to take a couple of steps, all good. There you go. And then we'll start to balance on that right foot any amount. You could work a low warrior 3, or you could start to pitch the body forward as you lift that back leg. Working arm variations as we stretch hands back towards that back foot, shoulders stretch away from the ears. Now stretching those hands wide to the side, wide across front and back, heart, any amount. Don't worry about the frame too much. Now sweeping those hands in front as if you're holding a large glass ball and lifting the face to look through that ball. You might even lift the chin here a little bit. Feeling a nice openness in your throat chakra, your communication chakra. Now bringing hands back to heart chakra, community chakra. Heart hands become hip hands. And then landing that back foot lightly and then adjusting your stance as needed. From here, let's use our hands to turn warrior 1 hips into warrior 2 hips as we swing the hips sideways and then finding one long arm. And you might kick that back foot in for a little bit of a narrower stance vis-a-vis the sides of your mat. And then looking out over those front fingers with a steady yet relaxed gaze. From here, painting rainbows, breathing in as we straighten the front leg without locking the knee. Exhaling warrior 2, 6 times, breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. We're halfway done. Breathing in, breathing out. Last 2, breathing in, breathing out. Last 1, breathing in and holding. As we hold the reverse warrior, reaching up higher, reaching down further, finding more space between each rib with every breath. And then spreading those fingers wide as we find more space in our hands. And breathing into all that space, even though our lungs don't really actually go there. We can use our breath as a metaphor for our attention. From the reverse warrior, coming back to your warrior 2. And then finding your rainbow warrior. You might grab a strap, towel, tie, whatever, or just a clasp of the fingers behind the back. Shoulder blades back and down initially. And then open heart, open throat as we take a forward fold inside the front leg. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Yeah. Take your time. And then when you're in the forward fold, I'll invite you to let the neck relax, the head be heavy, and letting those shoulders slide down towards the floor, any amount. As we hold the rainbow warrior, adding a little swing, a little sway, Inviting any knots in your body to untie and letting those knots, or the tension from those knots, drain down through the crown of the head into the earth. In our Rainbow Warrior, I'll suggest a strong tuck of the chin as we stretch out the back of our neck. Letting an inhale bring you on up, and then lifting the chin tall through the crown as we come back to our Warrior Two. Transitioning to extended side angle pose as we bring back hand to hip. Front forearm comes on top of the thigh with the palm facing up. If there's a brick handy, you might bring the hand down to a brick outside the calf. Do you want to do that, Kath, or not?
I wasn't planning on it, but I could try.
I mean, let me give you a more solid base here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then we'll go here. Awesome. 3 steps on the top arm. You want to do the form? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to let that top arm just dangle down towards the floor. Releasing and relaxing that shoulder, inviting any tension in the shoulder to drain down through your fingers. Keep those fingers super, super loose. Now you're going to stretch that arm away as you find more space in the shoulder. And then keeping that shoulder spacious is just sweep it forward. Yeah, so energy, I don't want to, yes, really stretch
so
through the wrist.
This one lose that one.
No, both of them are pretty active, yeah. So the bottom one is super active, like you're holding a tray. You don't want to drop the tray. This one, you want to feel energy through that whole line, yeah.
I got confused because I thought you said keep my hand loose, but I must have misheard.
It's all good. So now we're going to work the upper back here. As you're going to circle the hand back as you trace it with your eyes, and then circle it front. So it's a circular motion. Just a couple times, breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Now we're going to take those circles the other way, and a few more times, working with the back.
Harder than it looks.
It's harder, yeah. It's also a good exercise for our brain. And then holding the shape as you push strongly through that back foot, strongly through the leg, the torso, the arm, the fingers, yeah. And rather than those kind of fingers, maybe, yeah, but not breaking at the wrist. Yeah, everything in a straight line. Awesome, beautiful. From here, moving towards your half moon, top hand finds the hip. Either one big step or a series of steps in. Setting your base, right hand off to the right. Yeah, take your time to set it up. So no need to rush into these balance poses. And you can work a low half moon. We're starting to raise that back leg higher. We can use the top hand to good effect as we rotate our ribs. Opening up that shoulder. And then keeping that sense of space as you stretch that hand high. And then choose either to look down, very grounding, off to the side, or up to the sky. Wherever you choose to work, with every breath in, gathering energy into a big ball of energy in the very center of yourself. Every time you breathe out from that center, finding more length in the shape, both arms, both legs, both ends of the spine, connecting with the pulsation of your breath. I'll invite you to land a short stance. Top hand finds the hip, back foot comes down, no big deal. Shifting the weight into the feet as you come on up, hands find the hips. And then finding your Warrior Two stance as you shift weight onto the front foot and scoot that back foot back. One long arm. And then from here, a big windmill of the arms as we stretch out our shoulders. Lots of ways to do that. Finding your low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog as you will. Again, take your time. Find your flow. Follow your breath. Welcome, John. Welcome, Robert. And as we hold our down dog, coming back to Samarvriti, equal breath, long, smooth breaths in, followed by equally long, smooth breaths out. So goes the breath, so goes the mind. So when we calm our breath, we also calm our minds. So you want to do a second side. Let's do a little interlude here. I'll invite you to find a plank pose and just holding that for 5 or 6 long, slow breaths. As we hold the plank, feeling a connection between your head, your hips, and your heels. Feeling a nice openness in the back of the knee without locking the knee as your calves lift up to the sky. Feeling a nice stretch in your Achilles tendon as you stretch those heels back. Feeling long through the back of the neck as the crown of the head reaches for that front wall. Strong, strong shoulders. Yeah, shoulders super engaged here. You might even puff out the back of the heart as you push those shoulders down towards the floor. Beautiful. And then from here, On the tail end of an exhale, as you draw the navel in towards the spine, making your way back to down dog, lifting it high. How's your energy level? Can you do
Pretty good.
second side? Okay, so we do that second side with that same hip opener. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky. High on the right toes as we stretch out Achilles tendon and calf. Keeping that left shoulder just as it is, twisting from the ribs, lifted leg straight as you stack the hips. Now, keeping the shoulder just as it is as you bend the leg. Keeping the shoulder just as it is, pitching that knee even higher. And then sweeping that left foot through, spinning the back heel down, arms out to the side, and then overhead, as you find your warrior one. Awesome. In warrior one, I'll invite you to bring hands back to your hips and do a little check here. If you're at your max in terms of the length of your stance, stay right there. Otherwise, you can shift weight onto the front foot and slide that back foot back. And that's going to be safest for that front knee. From here, we can stretch those hands back high to the sky. Pulling silk thread, straighten the front leg without locking the knee, inhaling. Exhaling cactus arms. We'll do that 6 times. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. In and out. Last 2, inhale and exhale. Last 1, breathing in, breathing out and holding those cactus arms. Elbows move back, the hands come with, rippling those fingers. Open heart, you might lift that chin a little bit. Yeah, open up that throat chakra. So we've got heart chakra, community, throat chakra, communication. And that's what most of us do all day.
Say that one again, please.
So your heart chakra is your community. Your throat chakra is your communication.
Sorry.
It's all good.
This is a little comic relief.
Very comical. Lots of relief. Hands find the hips, you know where we're going, not yet. And then we're going to play with the warrior 3 as you spin the back heel up. Either one big step or a couple of steps in, up to you. You take your time. I usually feel free to adjust yourself in the frame. You can work with low warrior 3, all good with that. Or starting to pitch the body forward as you take it higher. Working the arm variations as we stretch hands back, shoulders stretch away from the ears, strengthen those fingers even, yeah.
Another high pose.
There you go, more space in those hands. And I'm going to stretch the hands out to the side, wide across front and back hard. Might pretend you're an ice skater. I think the Winter Olympics are starting real soon. Imagine doing this shape on a pair of skates.
No.
There you go.
That's what they do, though. That is exactly what they're doing.
Now we're going to sweep those hands front, and they do this one too on a pair of skates.
And I'm going to balance beam.
And then they lift their face to look to those hands. Yeah, some very talented athletes. They're fun to watch. From here, hands in front come back to the heart. Hard hands become hip hands. There's no rush here. And then taking a big step back or a small step and adjusting your stance as we come back to our warrior 1. We're keeping the hands on the hips. It's all good. We'll bring hands back to the hips. We'll turn those hips into warrior 2 hips. Kicking the back foot in, a little bit of a narrower stance, heel to arch alignment. And then finding one long arm. And the drishti here, the eye focus, is really important. So you're going to look out over those front fingers. And again, rather than having those kind of fingers, I'm going to say more, don't be afraid to get a little assertive with those fingers. And then a little more assertive on those back fingers too. Beautiful, nice. From here, painting rainbows. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. We're halfway done. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last 2. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last 1. We'll hold. Reaching up higher. Reaching down further. Finding more space between each rib. Breathing into that space. More space in your hand as you stretch those fingers wide. And notice when you spread the fingers, notice what happens in the shoulder. On a very subtle level, you find a little more openness in that shoulder. Turning our reverse warrior back into warrior 2. Finding the other clasp of the fingers behind the back. If you're using a strap or a towel, no need to do that. Stretching the shoulder blades back and down initially. Open heart, open throat. I left the coat hanger in my back of my shirt position. And you want to keep that initially leading with the heart as we take a deep forward fold.
That's a great way to describe it.
Yeah. Or shirt hanger. And then at a certain point, you let that neck relax, the head be heavy, and then letting those shoulders just slide down towards the floor. That's a nice subtle stretch all throughout the back.
It's like you're pulling your shoulders away while you stretch.
It's like taffy, and yeah, the shoulders, like in terms of the muscles of our back, probably the scapula are the biggest muscles. So we start to play with those, we start to find more freedom in our back. As we hold the shape, giving it a little swing, a little sway, or big swing, big sway, just whatever feels good for you. I'm gonna move that brick. And then before you come up, a strong tuck of the chin, feel the stretch in your back of your neck. Bringing it on up, now lifting the chin tall through the crown as we come back to our warrior two. And again, I focus, with those fingers, beautiful. From here, moving towards extended side angle, so you could station the bricks outside, or you could bring back hand to hip and forearm on top of the thigh. So you did that on the first side, yeah. And then we're going to do 3 steps on the top arm. I want to see some energy in this bottom hand even. Yeah, so you're holding a tray. You don't want to drop the tray. Just letting that top arm hang, though. Releasing and relaxing that shoulder. Now you're going to stretch the arm away as we find more space in that shoulder. And then keeping that sense of space as we sweep the hand front. You might even turn the hand towards your face and lift your face to look into the hand, keeping the 6th chakra, your brow smooth, your third eye. From here, circling that arm, inhaling and exhaling. So inhale into extension, following with your eyes as we stretch out our upper back, working with our neck a little bit. And then inhaling into extension, and then the exhale, finding flexion the other way. So change the direction. Inhaling, feel that space between the ribs. Exhaling, feel the upper back. One more time, breathing in.
It's like you're drawing a big circle.
Yeah, exactly right. That's why we call it circling. Just kidding.
Well,
and then we're going to hold. We're going to hold.
I'm
Strong
prototyping
through the back
it.
leg.
Prototyping.
Long through those ribs. Long through the arm. Long through those fingers. And then we'll take it to the half moon when you're ready. Top hand finds the hip. Big step in. And then setting your base. Anytime we rush into the balances, usually it doesn't help.
Don't rush into anything.
Never hurry, never worry, and take care of your stomach is what my Tai Chi
Ooh,
teacher says.
you gotta put that as your quote today. That's your meme.
So you're going to rotate the ribs. Open up that shoulder.
So my head is decapitated.
Yeah, you don't get hurt.
No, I mean in the camera.
And then stretching that hand high. I'm just talking about the anatomy of any shape. Every time you breathe in, the diaphragm stretches down towards the navel as we draw air into our lungs, gathering energy. The navel could be front navel, back navel, side energy, a big ball of energy here. Then every time you breathe out, the diaphragm relaxes and domes up to the heart as the air moves out of your lungs on that impetus, finding more space in the shape from the inside out, connecting with the pulsation of the breath. And it's such a beautiful half moon. I'll suggest coming down easefully. Top hand finds the hip. We can land a short stance. Yeah, so I always like to ground the feet first before I come up. You know what I'm saying? So let that foot come down first. And that's going to be safer. So once the foot's down, now you've got 2 feet down. Now you can come up and most likely, say you were an older person.
Like a dismount.
It's like an older person might fall if you tried to do it all at once.
Better dismount.
It's a better dismount. Anyway, so finding your length for warrior 2. There you go. One long arm.
Thanks for reminding me where I was.
And then a big windmill of the arms as we stretch out those shoulders, finding your low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog, as you will. Yeah. The transitions are just as important as the poses. A lot of times in yoga magazines or yoga books, we just see the poses and we don't see how people actually move between the poses. And that's the beauty of flow yoga. It's all one thing. Moving through space with grace, mindfully paying attention. From down dog, long smooth breath in. Long smooth breath out. Tail end of that breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone just a little bit higher. More space in that low back. And then looking between the hands as you either step or take a jump front. Awesome. Beautiful. Take a breath to find length. That's good core engagement, I can tell. On the exhale, folding again. On the inhale, back to your chair pose, knees over toes, hands overhead. The jumping chair. Exhaling, taking it lower. On the inhale, rising on up, glutes engaged, supporting that back bend at the top, the city lights position. And then on the exhale, standing tall.
I was just thinking I need to go buy a book at City Lights today.
And I'll ask you to face camera, hands find the heart. A light press of the thumb against your sternum, lining up each finger. Relax shoulders long through all sides of the neck with a soft tuck of the chin. Coming back to that focus on our breath, watching as it flows in and out. Lifting the chin tall through the crown, hands by your side. So if your feet aren't already there, either stepping or jumping your feet hip width apart. We'll work at that fire breath again, short, sharp exhalations out through the nose as we inhale, arms up to one side. On the exhale, passing the hands through center. And other side. Let's do 8. Halfway done. Couple more each way. One more each side. And then back to center. And either stepping or jumping it on in. Beautiful. And I'll ask you to face sideways. Sun Sal D.
D.
Let's do a very traditional sequence for this online class. And we'll move into a swan sequence. But we'll start with our chair. Inhaling. Exhaling, taking it deeper. Inhaling, rising on up, finding that back bend, open heart, open throat. On the exhale, leading with the heart as you take a swan dive over. Take a breath to find length as you look up. On the exhale, folding again, and either cycling through vinyasa or just finding your down dog. So let's add on to the hip opener as we prepare for our swan. Big toes tucked, heels slightly apart. Right leg high to the sky. High on the left toes. Keeping that right shoulder just as it is, twisting from the ribs as we stack the hips, lifted legs straight. Try to keep that shoulder just as it is. Now bending the leg, keeping the shoulder just as it is. Now I'll invite you to circle the thigh bone and the hip socket for 3 and 2 and 1. Taking those circles the other way for 3 and 2 and 1. And then pitching that knee higher, feel the stretch in the glute. Feels so good to me. And now we're going to keep that knee joint closed as we move towards the swan, bringing that right knee towards right wrist. Take your time here.
May I say something that I just figured out?
Yeah, of course.
So it's really, people think, oh, the pose is like opening your leg as far as possible, which is why people have that tendency to want to open their shoulder. But you don't feel that stretch in your glute unless you keep your shoulder down.
Right, and I also want to keep the shoulders safe.
And safe, but I mean, it has a dual thing. Oh, you're keeping it safe because your shoulders are so
stable.
vulnerable.
And then I'm also trying to find a little more movement in the mid-back, the thoracic spine. So when the shoulders take over, we kind of lose that opportunity to twist.
And it's even more important for the swan because if you get yourself out of alignment, then you're going to kind of be out of alignment in your hips too and stretch things that shouldn't be stretched that way. So just anyway, I feel it's kind of...
I'll have to think about that a little bit. So
I mean, I don't know anything about anatomy. It's just how I feel.
Okay. Very cool. All right, that'll be in the footnotes. All right, so you scooted the foot back, you settled the hips. Is it comfortable? You might have to adjust those feet a little bit. We all have different anatomy here. Finding the tips of 10 fingers. And we're going to move to back towards coat hanger in the back of the shirt pose. Yeah, there you go. Really feel it.
And then you want to describe it. That tells you what to do.
And then you're going to spider those fingers front. Take your time here as you traction your back. I'll try to remove any obstacles here. And then I'll invite you to keep so super long arms. I'll give you a little more room to work. The super long arms. You want to keep the elbows lifted as long as you can. You're going to heavy the forehead down towards the floor. We're going to stretch out our shoulders by keeping those elbows lifted. And then you can let the elbows relax and let the pose go soft. As you gently rock your hips from side to side.
Can you describe for people where their feet and hips should be so they? Because I know where mine are.
It really depends on your anatomy. So you want to make sure you're comfortable.
Right. How do you?
I like to put my far hip on that heel, on the heel of the bent leg.
Ah, that makes sense.
But I have narrow hips because I'm a boy.
Well, I kind of do too. But actually, you have very wide hips if you can do that because that's a feat of anatomy I guess either way.
But if your hips are even wider, you might not make it all the way over there. So you're gonna have to
Right.
figure out a place that's comfortable.
But if your hips are narrow, it's just like, I think what I'm trying to say is it's important because it's again like a shoulder and it's your knee to just be really careful.
Yeah, you want to be super careful with your knee.
And you might not look like what I look like because I've been
There you go.
practicing
You've
with
been
you since the beginning of the pandemic,
That's right.
more than ever before.
So let's play with swan twist a little bit here. So walking the hands back in. We've got a perpendicular form on the bent knee side of things. You're going to turn away from the camera. The other hand goes out to the side. Pulling back with the forearm as you give yourself the exact right amount of twist that's right and good for you. You can even pulse that twist a little bit. Now finding your swan twist the other way as we come back through center, the other perpendicular form. You're going to face the camera now. Other outrigger hand. Pulling back any amount. And then there's different ways to work these stretches. You can keep pulling, or maybe you pulse it a little bit. Whatever it takes to unlock any locks, any knots in your body. From here, coming back center, we'll find the tips of 10 fingers. One of my favorite poses here, strong core engagement as we lift the perineum up towards the navel up towards the heart as we float those hands high.
And you can do it for very long today.
You want to do a few wrist circles just to keep it loose. Take your mind off whatever else is happening. Take it the other way. And then we're going to ground back down. I'll suggest 2 flat palms. Tucking the back toes. Keeping the knee joint closed as you lift that leg. Yeah, so keep the knee joint closed. We keep the energy contained. And now we're going to let the energy move into the knee as you carefully straighten it. And then give it a little shake. See how that knee feels. And then grounding on down, finding your down dog. And either hanging out here, maybe walking the dog, stretching it out, or cycling through vinyasa, yogi's choice. This will probably be the last opportunity in this class to do vinyasa. So if you're raring to go, go for it. Otherwise, just, again, just always listening to your body, and even more importantly, respecting what your body has to say. All right, we're going to move towards that second side. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky. High on the right toe, stretching out Achilles tendon and calf. Keeping that left shoulder just as it is, so we stabilized here, so we can maximize the twist in the mid-back and in the hip. Now bending the leg, keeping the shoulder just as it is, and that's going to bring a little more action into the hips when we keep the shoulders solid. Now we're going to circle. 1, 2, and 3, taking those circles the other way. 1, and 2, and 3. And you're going to pitch the knee higher. That feels so good for me. Hopefully it feels just as good for you. And you're going to keep that knee joint closed as you bring the knee to the wrist. So take your time here. Now here, we were talking a bit before here, but take your time. Yeah, don't settling into the shape, almost like sinking into a mud bath here. You don't have to go too fast. The mud's going to constrain the action. Unfurling the foot, everything in a straight line back there to keep equal stress on both sides of the ankle. Making sure your foot is in a comfortable place. And again, everyone has different anatomy here. Width of hips, narrowness of hips.
Maybe this is the first time you've even tried to do this pose, and so you can't quite get into the whole shape.
Yeah, very fair enough. And you can always do this on your back.
Yeah.
The tips of 10 fingers. We're going to put that coat hanger in the back of our shirt as we shine the heart. Lifting chin as we shine the base of our throat. And then keeping that sense of space, leading with the heart as you traction yourself into a forward fold. So you're going to walk those hands forward. Onto the chessboard again.
Oh, that's good. Thank you, though.
Of course. Yeah, take your time here. This is a wonderful, like a lot of times we rush to get to the next place, but we kind of lose some opportunity when we rush.
Be
Feel a
here
nice
now.
stretch, find some more space in our back. Keeping those elbows lifted as long as you can, feeling the stretch in your shoulders. And then letting the pose relax as you soften into the shape. And even though we're softening the shape, I'll invite you to gently rock your hips from side to side.
Is it okay that my arms just kind of naturally want to come back like this? Or you want them forward?
You know, I mean, like I say, it's about connecting with your own self. I think I like the arms in extension because I enjoy the stretch in my shoulders. But if it's too much stretch, of course, doing what feels good for you.
So it's about having the kind of stretching both directions is what.
Yeah, finding a little more length.
That's
But-
helpful.
But if that effort causes you to kind of like be anxious to get out of the shape, then of
No,
course,
no, I think what it is just knowing that it's kind of like, oh, it's like a rubber band, kind of,
Yeah.
a relaxed rubber band. It kind
and
of
then,
keeps
and
its
then
shape,
maybe
it stretches
at a
as
certain
far as
point,
you
just
can.
let it go super soft.
Yeah.
Always like on the exhale, just letting everything melt into the earth. And then we'll find our swan twist. So you can re-engage as you walk the hands back. A perpendicular form on the bent knee side of things. Now you're going to turn towards the camera. Other hand goes out to the side. And then giving yourself the exact right amount of traction that's right and good for you. And you might pulse it a little bit. We have several massage, whatever they are, massage rollers, and there's always there's different settings. We can do that in our practice too. Either you can pull, you can pulse it, a little pulse.
Yoga's like your own massage for your body.
It's massage from the inside, mindful massage. And then we'll find that twist the other way, so we'll bring it back through center. Other outrigger hand will turn away from the camera. And then giving yourself the exact right amount of traction that's right and good for you. And always remembering to breathe. If you're not quite sure what to do at any point in any practice, just take a breath in and a breath out, and you're doing the right thing. Now we'll come back center, we'll fly that swan, take your time, tips of 10 fingers, lifting everything up, sweeping arms out to the side and high to the sky, and then just take your mind off of something, maybe action at the periphery. Solidifies our center, circling one way, circling the other, feeling the brightness of the shape. And then I'll invite you to come back down to the ground, finding the flats of two palms. So you want to make sure you're solid and stable here. Keeping that knee joint closed as you tuck the back toes and lift that knee up. And then very carefully opening that knee as we invite the prana to, we've squeezed, prana's probably still in there, but we've squeezed blood, we've squeezed fluid out, and now when we open that leg, we're inviting that fluid, that prana, the other kind of prana attached to that fluid. It gets kind of complicated sometimes when you talk about these metaphysical concepts.
That's also awesome.
Yeah. And then grounding on down. And I guess I fibbed a little bit. If you did want to cycle through vinyasa, you still have the opportunity to do one more before we start to draw this online class to a close, moving towards our Shavasana. Not yet, though. And from down dog, I'll invite you to land your knees lightly, finding your child's pose as you nestle your belly in between your thighs, or at least towards your thighs. And again, I'll suggest arms in extension as long as you can. Elbows stay lifted, heaving the forehead down, and then letting the pose relax. As we hold this shape, gently rocking your hips from side to side, stretching out your back. It's nice. If your forehead's all the way down to the ground, letting the press of the forehead into the ground. Relax the back of the head, the necks, and the shoulders. Yeah, you can even add a little neck work there, a little shoulder work here, keeping the work. We're not really bearing weight, so yeah, so you can release some of that engagement, or at least all of that engagement. From here, keeping hips and heels just as they are, I'll invite you to walk your hands to one side as you stretch far hip to far heel, feeling the stretch. One of my favorite stretches here. Now walking your hands through center and finding that second side, stretching other hip to other heel. Welcome, Vera. Now walking your hands back center. And then I'll invite you to walk your hands in as you bring your feet off to one side. Take your time. Finding two long legs in front. And let's do it. Come to the top of your mat. Yeah, let's find a long, slow roll down. You got some space behind you. Maybe you come a little bit farther up. Finding your neutral spine, back of the head in line with your sacrum. Yeah, there it is. Now finding C-spine as you tuck tail and chin. And slowly roll yourself down, laying each vertebrae down as if you're laying pearls onto a cushion. Take your time. You can always grab the back of the thighs if need be. When you land down, full body stretch, arms overhead. head. Yeah, low back's going to lift. You don't want to go too low with the arms though. We're going to keep the ribs soft and drawing in. And from here, sweeping your hands by your side, widening the thighs, scooting the head back as you flatten your shoulders, finding your Shavasana. And we won't be here too long. And I'll turn the lights off a little bit here. As we hold our Shavasana, tip of the tongue now neutral in your mouth. A slight part to your lips, but still breathing in and out through your nose. Initially focusing on our breath, but as we hold the shape, even letting that focus soften, as we bring our senses inside. Pratyahara. Some of the old texts. Each of our senses is a horse, and our mind is hitched to those 5 senses, 5 horses. So now we're unhitching those horses, and the mind starts to reflect upon itself. So yeah, I'm going to ring these yoga bells 3 times. Volume is low. Okay. I'm not sure what's going on. All right. I'll speak louder here. Inviting more prana into your body, I'll invite you to gently ripple fingers and toes. Inviting that prana in towards center as we gently circle wrists and ankles. A little shimmy of the shoulders, a little shake of the hips, connecting with your own innate sense of well-being. Now pressing your back into the mat to support the action of the legs as you draw one knee in and then the other. Hands cap the knees. We can use those thighs to massage our low belly, front to back, little circles, whatever feels right and good for you. Keeping those knees close in, stretching long through the right arm, rolling onto your side, letting that arm serve as a cushion for your head. And then with a soft tuck of the chin, pressing on up and finding a cross-legged sit. As we sit, I'll invite you to bring your hands onto your knees, pulling back with your hands to settle your shoulders. 5 fingers of one hand find the ground. The palm of the other hand faces the sky. A soft tuck of the chin. Ending our practice as we started, watching as our breath flows in and out. From this place of breath awareness, I invite you to bring your hands to your hearts and bow as you thank yourself for practicing yoga. And as we offer our practice out to each other and to the world, the light within us honors and respects the light within you. And in this light, we are one. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you, Kathy, for practicing with me.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you at home for practicing with us. And namaste sounds just like have a nice day, and we'll see you all next time.
Namaste.
Namaste. Have a nice day.